Hey guys, welcome back to Larry TCG. In this video, we're going to be discussing the new OP14 leader leaks. It's pretty new and it's pretty preliminary, I would say. We don't have a whole lot of support for them just yet. However, we have the effects and we have all 7 of them at the moment, so it's worth having a discussion to see what we're in for OP14. It's coming up pretty soon. I know that in the West we're getting OP13 very soon, and in Japan they get this at the end of November, so they're already looking to that. They've had their entire format of Emu and Ace and Zoro and UP and all of these other decks. We're just sort of getting into that, but in saying that, it's still worth the conversation because by the time we hit simultaneous release, by the time that we in Oceania, so Australia, New Zealand, all those regions, our Nats is OP14. So it'd be interesting to see if this actually has an impact. So I've got some notes here about the new leaders. Obviously we don't have all of the support announced yet, and we can only really speculate on what kind of things that are going to come out. At the time of recording this video, we're getting little bits and pieces come through. So the information on the slides might be a little bit outdated by maybe a couple of days. As we're getting more and more information, some of these leader effects and some of these strategies will make a little bit more sense. So I think that it's going to be, it's just a waiting game. We'll eventually see it. It comes out on the 22nd of November, I believe, in Japan. So we should have the card lists in a few weeks. But for now, let's have a look at the new leaders and see what we're looking at. First off, we have Mihawk. So I should preface this by saying I put some cards on each of the slides just as sort of a talking point or something that we can think about for use within these decks. It's not going to represent what the decks are actually going to look like, but it's just based on what we already have and how we could apply their unique leader effects to the different card pool that we already have. But I assume we're going to be getting a lot more stuff for each of these leaders. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait for now. But as for Mihawk, he's a 5,000 power, 5 life green leader with a slash attribute. He says if your opponent's leader has the slash attribute, this character gains plus 1,000 power. So that's a blanket plus 1k. If their leader is Zoro, if their leader is Odin, if their leader is Smoker, if their leader is Law, the new red Law, which we'll see in a moment, it is plus 1k for the whole thing. So it's a 6k 5 life leader, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. The activate main for him is activate main once per turn. You can rest one of your cards. So himself, a Don, a stage, a character, anything. If there is a character with a cost of 5 or more, and that's on the field as well, doesn't need to be on your field, you can set up to 3 of your Don cards as active. Then you cannot play character cards from your hand during this turn. So once you've used that effect, you can't play any more characters from your hand. It's a pretty unique effect in that Smoker would restand 2 Don when you had a 7,000 power unit, and it didn't give you any restriction or anything. The 5 cost Smoker, which you can see on the side here, does have a restriction. It says you can't set any Don cards active using character effects after you use that, but this leader says that you can't play any characters from your hand. Now it's sort of similar to the 8 cost Mihawk in where when you restun 4 Don, you aren't able to play any characters with a 7 cost or higher. So I guess you can definitely pair the Mihawk with this leader effect and restand a lot of Don, but you won't be able to play any more characters. So make sure you play all your characters out before you use this effect. However, we do have some new events and some support for Mihawk already. So we can see these 2 events on the side. They each cost 1 Don. They're both a 3k counter for leader only, much like a lot of these cards that they're printing with double effects now. The first one says you can rest 3 of your cards and KO 1 of your opponent's rested characters with a base power of 7,000 or less. So 1 Don for it, 3 extra cards, doesn't need to be Don, can be characters, can be leader, can be stage, whatever. And then KO something rested with 7,000 or less. So that's pretty interesting. It's East Blue searchable as well, which is worth noting, in case we want to play an East Blue package in the Mihawk deck, which you can, use the 2 cost Nami. The next one, you pay 1, and then it says activate main, you rest 2 of your cards again, and then you can draw 1 and then rest a character with 7,000 base power or less. So it's if you want 3 Don to rest something, but the 2 cards don't need to be Don, as I said. So interesting effect. And I've just got this little card down here. It's an OP13 event. It says you pay 1 and then you rest 2 of your Don cards. And then up to 2 of your opponent's rested 7 costs or less won't become active next turn. And then it's a 3k counter as well for your leader, just like the other 2. But this one is like mini Luna. And the reason I put this here is because it can be searched by Supernova and by Straw Hat. So if we are thinking about what kind of searches we want to play, we can definitely be playing something like Perona to search the event. We can be playing the Nami if you want to play sort of a Straw Hat package. We've got access to the Bonnie searcher. Bonnie will search all the Supernovas. So there's a bunch of different ways you can go about it. It's worth noting though that Mihawk is only 7 Warlords of the Sea. He's not Supernova. You can't actually use Cavendish with this. In addition to that, he is not Zoro specifically, meaning that you can't use Hiyori, which is another tap searcher that searches for green event or a slash character. And you can't use the restand event. So they specifically name Zoro and he's Mihawk. And as for Cavendish, you can't use him because he's not Supernova. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of make his identity different to, say, Bonnie and Zoro. He's definitely got a unique leader effect, and it's you know, lots of different applications you can use with events and, you know, setting up your board. We've got this Queener on the side here, which gives 2 rested Don to your leader. So, you know, we're able to sort of allocate Don out. We've got a couple of these curve cards that we can play. The Smoker's of course really good. And then the Uta restands one of your Don and then rest something, and then you can rest one of your Dons and restand her at the end of turn. With the leader effect, we're going to have some extra Dons, so you know, we're going to want to have some events as well in the deck. As for Mihawk, I think we're going to have to wait and see how he deviates from the other 2, as I said, in the other green decks. But he's definitely, his effect does allow for a more open-ended building style. There's a lot of different searching and types in green, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Next cab off the rank is Boa. So she's a blue-yellow 4-life leader, 5,000 power, Kuja Pirate, 7 Warlords type. She says, during your opponent's turn, when you play a character, you draw 1 card. And then she's a Don 1 once per turn. When your Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates type character with a base power of 5,000 or more is KO'd, your opponent adds 1 life from the top of their life to their hand. So, interesting effect. It's obviously the draw is in opponent's turn, meaning that, you know, it's not when you just tap something and play during your turn. It's going to be sort of relying on triggers and effects that would play cards in your opponent's turn. Now, at the moment, there's not a whole lot of them outside of triggers, and, you know, there's not many cards that play cards on KO. There's one here, which I will, it comes out in EBO3, which is worth talking about, the Nami here. She does say on KO, you can turn one of your life face up and play a character card with 6,000 power less from your hand. One of the rare cards that does play something on KO, which, you know, is a way to draw a card there. I've got this Marigold here because she does on play something else. So if there is a way that we can play her, obviously we'll be able to play out something else with her effect, but then we'll be able to draw a card as well. So also wanted to note that there are a few existing combos that we have for Boa at the moment based on the card pool that we have available. So a couple of the ones that come to mind are, you know, your 4-cost 6k Boa from the structure deck. She looks at top 3, stacks them top or bottom, and then gives a Don to one of your 7 Warlords leader or character. So you can give that Don to Boa. And then of course, if you block with this 6k blocker and then sack it off, you actually get to make them take a life. So a bit of synergy there on 4 Don, which is cool. This new Boa from EBO3, she's got an effect that says, she's got an on-play that says if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, then they place 1 on bottom of deck, which is already quite cool. She's a 6/8, which is a massive stat line. Can play this off the Marigold, as you can see down here too. But she's got an activate main, so it says you can place one of your characters on the bottom of the owner's deck, so bot deck something, and then give your leader and character up to 1 rested Don each. So you're giving a Don to your leader to facilitate her leader effect, which is obviously good. And then you're giving a Don to something. Now that something can be what we've got here, this Boa Hancock from OP01. Now she's a blocker, 4-cost 5,000 power, 1k counter, blocker, and then Don 1, when attacking or on block, you draw a card if there are 5 or less cards in your hand. So with a play like that, you can maybe play out a Marigold, on 5 or something, or 6. If you've already set up this boa here, for example, you're able to easily put a Don on her and your leader, and then you're putting your opponent in a position where, you know, if they attack, you get a draw, and then they have to take a life as well, which is obviously really, really good. You've got this 6/8 body here, a threat. If you've played Marigold, you have another blocker, or, you know, put a Don on her next turn and she's an attack as well, which is obviously pretty good. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. And looking at the card pool, we can obviously benefit from having the Seven Warlords package in blue in this deck to some extent. So there's a bit more of a fleshed out identity for Boa already based on her fairly generic leader effect. Although I will say we probably do need a little bit more support for her to, you know, for the first part to make a bit more sense. At the moment, it's just kind of, if I hit a Kiku trigger or if I hit something that summons itself, then I'll get to draw. Now at the time of recording this video as well, they have announced another Boa support card. I think it's like a rare, and it's, you know, it's got an effect that says if your leader's Hancock, you can play it off your life. So more trigger bodies. It's got another effect as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think if Boa Hancock gets more sort of in-house, like, you know, Kuja Pirates, Amazon Lily type cards that play themselves off life, you're able to obviously have the second part apply to your leader as well as drawing a card. So I'm hoping that Boa is able to use that first part of the leader effect, because being able to draw cards is really important to keep your hand size nice and healthy. The blue-yellow Nami deck had a really good leader effect that allowed it to keep a really good hand size. And being a 4-life leader, we want to obviously make sure that we're having a healthy hand, because, you know, we are a little bit more frail, but being that we are yellow, we do have access to heal cards like Kuma, which is the 7 Warlords, and then, you know, if they attack the Kiku, then of course then we're going to heal, and a bunch of other cards that, you know, obviously say healer card as well. So we'll wait to see with this one, but it's definitely going to be a really exciting one. I am very keen to play it myself, and yeah, hopefully some of the support is going to be really good. Moving on. Jinbe. This one was really funny. I think we all know by this point that about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a bunch of alt art leaks for these leaders come out. Now, they were custom cards, so it did, you know, we didn't know if they were going to be real or not, and it turned out that all the effects were completely the same, and it was very surprising because, you know, A, how did someone get the access to the cards, and B, what went on, you know? So, but one of the funny things with Jinbe's effects, I'll read it out. It's a 5,000 power, 5 life blue, Fishman, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Sun Pirates leader. Says, activate main, not once per turn, not once per turn. You can trash 1 card from your hand and give up to 2 rested Don to one of your Fishman or Merfolk type leaders and characters. Leader or character, sorry. This effect, as I said, is not once per turn, so you can do it as many times as you want. Now I've got this funny little image on the side here, as you can see. If at the end of the game, if your opponent is on 0 life or whatever, you could activate Perfume Femur, Perfume Femur, Perfume Femur, Perfume Femur, Hound's Blaze. You can gain 11,000 power off this. That's all 10 Don. They're all rested as well, so your Jinbe is 16k. And then you go discard, 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 attach all 10 Don to him, and then it's a 26k unblockable. Which I just thought it was really, really funny that you could even do something like that. I mean, technically I think it probably will come up that you'll activate FEMA and ditch a card to attach Don, and maybe when you're going for game, it's sort of like when you would, you know, verse Blackbeard, and they would, you know, the teach effect is not once per turn, so they would trash their whole hand to make their Burgess bigger. It's not the same, but it's similar concept, like they'd, you know, trash your whole hand, attach all of the Don to him if you've, you know, boosted him or played something else, maybe with Rush or bounced something back, maybe you've put into them, and then, you know, you pitch 2 cards, give the Don to your leader. That could be pretty potent at the end of the game, for sure. At the moment with Jinbe, we definitely need a lot more support before we can make an educated guess on his effect and his viability. We obviously got this new Jinbe from PRB, which is actually a lot better than I think people gave it credit for. It's been doing pretty well in the Doffy deck, and it's when attacking effect it's pretty niche, but it's decent against some decks. You know, you can definitely bot deck little searches. You can bot deck Rayleigh, you know, little searches as well. They love swinging 5s with their little 1 costs. It's not a bad card, and it allows for some interesting plays in the Doffy deck. But as for Jinbe, I'm not sure what the rest of his support's going to look like. We've got this event down here too, which is, I guess, one of the first support cards that we have for Jinbe. It's a 2-cost event, and then it says you have to arrest 3 of your Don as an activate main, and then you can play up to 1 Fishman type character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand, and then return something on your opponent's field with its base power of 6. So there's only 2, at the moment, there's only 2 blue 3-cost or less Fishman cards. There's a vanilla Jinbe from one of the early starter decks, which is a blank. And then there's Namul, which is a Whitebeard Pirate's blocker, which is okay. He's okay. He draws 2 and then puts 2 on bottom or top, which is fairly decent. But I don't know if this is exactly what you want to be playing off this. I mean, you definitely can, but I mean, it costs 5, you know, to bounce something with 6 KO power or less and then play Namul, I guess, if you really want to do that. But it's also got a counter. It says you can draw 1 card and then up to 1 of your leaders gains 3k. So for 2, you're drawing a card and yeah, boosting for 3, which is not bad, but definitely need to see a bit more for Jinbe, and hopefully he gets a bit of love, you know. It's pretty, you know, he's obviously got the established 7 Warlords package from all the other blue 7 Warlords leaders, but it doesn't synchronize very well with his effect. So definitely have to wait and see on him. Moving on, we have Doffy. Now, before I get into Doffy, can we just take a very quick look at this art and just appreciate it? Like, this has got to be like one of the best base art leaders in the game. Like, look at this. It's so cool, man. Like, yeah, when the leaks came out, we saw the alt arts, which, like, we don't know if they're still the correct ones. Like, we don't know if they're going to be the correct arts for them. But, you know, we've gotten the base arts for all of the leaders now, and this one is so sick. Like, low-key, this one is better than the alt art that we've seen on the leak. So if that is true, then maybe I'm playing this one. But Doffy's effects. So we'll have a read. So it's a 5,000 power, 5 life, purple leader, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Don Quixote Pirates. On opponent's attack once per turn, Don -1, select one of your leaders or one of your Don Quixote Pirates type characters and change the target of this attack to the selected card. So when they attack, you can redirect it, which is pretty cool. It's like you can give anything blocker, anything that's, you know, either your leader or Don Quixote Pirates card, right? In terms of the purple support for Don Quixote Pirates, there is a few cards, because obviously we have green, purple Doffy, and then we have Sugar. So they have a few cards in their archetype already, but not a lot of them do synchronize with what Doffy, I guess, is trying to do. We've got the 8-cost Doffy and the Rosie, which are just really, really good cards. You probably can't go wrong with playing these, and I'd be surprised if we didn't play them, just because they do facilitate a lot of advantage for your deck. And having this Rosie on the field means you can restand 2 of your Don at end of turn, which is obviously really good for having events as well. We've got the support card, which says pay 1, rest 2 of your Don, max activate main. If your leader is Don Quixote Pirates type, you can add a Don from your Don deck and rest it. So you can play it in the 3 decks, as I said. This one is obviously, you know, comes out in the set that he comes out. It's a 3k counter as well during battle for your leader, so you know, a bit of utility there. But I guess we already do kind of have a bit of ramp in purple, like, and by a bit I mean a lot. You know, we've got generic ramp cards like you know, Bond Clay and a bunch of cards throughout the course of the, like, later in the game that we're playing to maintain our Don as well. You got that 8-cost Katakuri that re-ramps a Don and stuff too. The one thing I will say is that because obviously we're not a blue leader as well, we're not multicolored, we don't have access to a Gear 2 ramp, which, you know, UP was infamous for doing. Previously, you know, the other purple decks would be ramping off Bond Clay. Purple Luffy has a leader effect, so that ramps you. So, you know, a mono purple deck has a little bit less options overall, but having this card means that you've got something on 3 that you can ramp, which is cool. But you've also got this baby 5, which you can see on the side here. 3 cost, 1k, 2k counter. So it's, you know, a 2k counter that you can play with an additional effect, which might come up, you know. On play, you can discard 1 card from your hand, and then if your leader's Don Quixote Pirates, you can add 1 Don card and set it as active. So you've got a ramp on 3, and of course with the leader effect, you can redirect one of the attacks later on to Baby 5 and just sack it off. So it's as if she's like a little blocker as well. So it's actually pretty reasonable, you know. It's obviously not as good as some other cards, but if you, in a pinch, if you need to ramp, you know, being able to play this on 3, ramp if you don't have this event, and then, you know, you go to 6 Don on the turn after, you're able to play maybe this Rosinante out or something, or, you know, another ramp card into another card maybe, or, you know, who knows what we're going to get in terms of support for Doffy as well. So it'll be very interesting to see, but at the moment, you know, obviously we've got the Sugar Searcher, which searches everything that you can see here, including all the stuff we probably will be getting for this leader. So it's worth keeping your eye on it. I think this very interesting leader effect, again, very cool art. And yeah, I you know, seeing what different directions purple mono decks are going is interesting. We obviously lean a lot into that ramp, but what are we ramping to, you know? We've need to sort of have something worth ramping to, because it kind of defeats the purpose of getting to 10 Don, right? If we look at purple Katakuri, it was ramping to that 8 cost, that 9 cost Lin Lin, the 8 cost Kata, the 10 cost Big Mom, all of those really big characters. You want to have something else to ramp to. So maybe a 10 cost Doffy or something. We've already got one of those, but you know, something big and scary that you can threaten your opponent with. So that's Doffy. Let's move on to the next one. Next one is Croc. Croc's an interesting one. So I'll read his effect. It's black, 5,000 power, 5 life leader. It says all of your opponent's characters cannot be removed from the field by your effects. It says activate main, you can KO one of your characters with the Baroque Works type, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 10 cost, then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. Croc's probably the most interesting and confusing out of all of them, if you know, in my opinion. Black decks, their entire identity is about removal, and the first effect saying that they can't be removed is very interesting. Minus 10 cost, and you know, having aspects of KO and trashing cards from your deck is kind of interesting. We've got these 2 cards from EBO3, which you can see on the side, one of which interacts with a 0 cost character, and another one trashes cards from your deck. In fact, both of them do trash cards, and one of them interacts with 0 cost. So it makes a little bit more sense now, but at the same time, we don't have enough cards to make sense of what the deck is trying to achieve. We've gotten this event recently, Ground Death. It says activate main, you can rest 2 of your Don cards, including 1 for the card, so it's 3. It says negate the effects of up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less during this turn. And then it's got a counter. It says if you've got 10 more cards in your trash, up to one of your leaders or characters gains 4,000 power. That's pretty good. That's Rad Beam. That's a big counter. If you're trashing cards with the leader effect, and by, you know, using this Miss Valentine, or, you know, KOing off this Miss Double Finger, trashing 2 with the effect, you get a mill 4. So you mill off 2 of him and then 2 off the Double Finger. I assume you're probably going to get to your 10 in trash pretty quickly. So that's an interesting card. Now, the first effect obviously has effect negation, which is, you know, when we're thinking about the identity of black, if they can't remove things, we have to think outside of the box. So effect negation definitely makes a lot of sense. We've seen shades of that through the Blackbeard deck, in where they nullify your leader effect and on plays. But you know, it kind of, you know, it's an interesting thought experiment. I've got some notes about Croc here. Some other things that we could potentially see. Now this is all speculation, but we've seen a little bit of some, but we haven't seen one of the topics at all that I'll mention here. So we've got effect negation, of course. You know, it could potentially be an attack negation if it's got 0 cost. But the main one that I'm thinking about is maybe taking control of opponents' characters. Now that's an interesting concept. My first game was Yu-Gi-Oh! So, you know, we have a bunch of effects that allow us to take control of characters, to, you know, revive characters from your opponent's trash, their graveyard. And, you know, I don't think for the most part we've had any effects that sort of do that at all. I don't think there's anything that really summons anything back from your opponent's trash to your field. I don't think there's anything that takes a card from their field and uses it as your own. So it could be a very interesting concept that, you know, if something has 0 cost, you play this and you just take it. And yeah, or there could be, you know, if something has 0 cost, then nothing can, like all things with 0 cost can't attack or whatever. I just don't really know what way they're going to go with it, but at the same time, I think it's quite interesting. So I'm waiting to see on this one, of course. It's pretty open-ended, I think, for Croc. I wanted to comment too, I think the identity of Black, as I said previously, was all about removal, and the fact that he doesn't have that ability for you to include those cards into your deck and get any value off them. You can put them in, of course, put a finger gun in your Croc deck, but it's not going to do anything. Are we seeing a bit of an identity change for Black? I know that previously Black was pretty, I guess it was a pretty lopsided mechanic in terms of KO back in early One Piece. You know, Sakazuki being one of the best decks, Gecko Moria being one of the best decks, Lucci being one of the best decks, Black Yellow Luffy being one of the best decks, even though he didn't have a whole lot of KO, but he was still a black deck that had KO cards in it. It's interesting to see that we sort of moved away a little bit from, you know, the full KO, like every turn I'm clearing your board, like pop, 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 KO. We've seen a bunch of leaders printed in the last few sets that kind of challenge that dynamic. And what I mean by that is, you know, we've seen like Red Black Sabo coming out in OP13, not a whole lot of emphasis on removal. Same with Koala, Black Yellow Koala. I think those 2 Rev Army leaders, they didn't have a whole lot of removal as part of their game plan. You could definitely play cards that removed. Like in my Koala list that I top 16 with, I'm playing like 5 cost Nami. There's a bunch of black cards I could technically include in my deck. I've seen lists with Finger Gun in it, just as a way to remove something if need be. But it's not the intention of the deck. I think it's taken a bit of a turn since we've seen Gecko and Ice Age and things being banned. And even with the reintroduction of Sakazuki, you know, we weren't seeing a big uptick in black decks. So I'll be interested to see if this, you know, takes black as an identity and a thought experiment as down a completely different path, because it's definitely very cool. I know I was one of the people that was very frustrated in the past when, you know, I'd verse black and they clear everything that I own. I felt like it wasn't very interactive One Piece. So if they choose to do something different with the black leaders and black card pool, I think that would be really cool. Next up is Law. Now this is a really cool leader. Mono red, 5000 power, 5 life slash. Activate main once per turn. You can select 2 of your Supernova or Hearts Pirates type characters and swap the base power of the selected characters with each other during this turn. He's a 7 Warlords of the Sea, Supernova and Heart Pirates type, so there's a bit of typing going on there. The first thing that comes to mind with Law's effect is being able to flood the board and get 2 big swings in by swapping the attack of something that's really big, swinging with it first and then putting it on a little weenie or something and attacking with that. But I think that's a pretty basic way of thinking about it. I think that in terms of support, there could be a really good idea that if, say, something that starts off with a base power or something, but then becomes bigger, then has an effect that says, you know, minus 2000 or it gains rush or whatever, that could be really cool. In terms of Supernova and Heart Pirates, there's not a whole lot of red Heart Pirates cards at all, unfortunately. In Supernova, there's a few. I've got this Kid Killer here, that's probably one of the best ones. Obviously gets really big and, you know, it can be a really potent finisher if, you know, you summon it, you swap, you know, attack with something and then summon this and then swap the attack of the Kid Killer and the thing that you attack with. Say that thing has, say, 8 or 9000 power. You attack with the Kid Killer, it gains 2k if your opponent has 2 or less life. So you could be swinging in for 10, 11,000 for 4 Don, which is, that's a massive swing, you know? So, but the rest of the Supernova cards for red are pretty old. You know, there's like Rush Zoro, there's the Zoro that when he's got a Dawn on him, he gains 1000 power. Unfortunately, those cards are block 1, and at the moment, you know, unless we hear anything different, they are going to be rotating out. So if we get this leader, I don't think we're going to be able to play those cards in the deck for much longer. So it might be interesting to see if we get some more support that kind of helps mitigate the rotation that's coming up. We've got this event as well on the side that's a counter. It's a 1-cost counter. It says if there's a character with 8,000 power or more, up to one of your leaders gains 4,000 power. It's got a trigger as well that says you can play a red character card with 2,000 power or less from your hand. Now at the moment there is a Beppo, that's a Heart's Pirate card that you can play as a 2k counter as well. It might be okay, but I think we do need to wait on a bit of support for lore to see how, you know, the swapping of attack is going to really play a part here. I've included this Vivi here too, just as a bit of a thought. She's a 7-cost 4,000 power unit. All of your characters with a cost of 3 or more other than this character gain Rush, just a blanket effect. Now, I'm thinking like, if we get to a point in the game where we can play this Vivi out and, you know, obviously Kid Killer has Rush, but if there are some other really big units that are bigger, have a lot of power, you know, every turn we're able to swing in with that, summon something else, swap its attack, give it Rush, attack again. It could be a pretty interesting aggro strategy. I don't necessarily think that's what we're going to end up doing, but it's just cool. And I don't think this Vivi's seen a lot of play or use. And unfortunately, she's also block 1 as well, so she's going to rotate out. So, but we'll wait and see with lore. He's yeah, really cool. Hopefully we get some really big dudes that we can summon out and then swap the attack and give a little, you know, little searcher or something. A 1-cost 2,000 power searcher, like swap it with a 10 or 12k attack and just swing. That'd be massive. It'd incentivize your opponent to clear the little searcher early because it could turn into a really big swing later. So that's lore. And last one is Gecko. And Gecko, this one, along with Croc, is probably one of the most confusing as well. It makes sense when you read it, what it's trying to do, but at the same time, you're like, how am I going to play this efficiently? So we'll have a read. It's a yellow-black leader. He's 5,000 power, 4 life, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Thriller Barks. Activate main. Once per turn, you can KO one of your Thriller Bark type characters. Your leader and all of your characters gain 1,000 power during this turn. That's pretty cool. Everything on your field gains 1,000 power, and yeah, your leader gains 1,000. So you're swinging in for 6, which is, you know, no Don, nothing like that. So it's pretty interesting. And he's got when attacking, it says you can trash 3 cards from your hand and heal a life. So you heal one from the top of your deck, put it on top of your life. 3 cards is massive. Now I was going through the card pool and I was trying to think how we could, you know, generate a bunch of random cards in our hand, you know, cards like fodder that we could just pitch to heal. Inherently, having a heal effect is very strong, like a built-in way to heal is very good. 3 cards is very steep though. So I'll be very interested to see how we mitigate that massive detriment and that cost to being able to, you know, use this effect more frequently. And if we can, then that, you know, could mean that you have 5, 6, 7, 8 life in one game, which is crazy, you know. I have on the side here, I've got this Thriller Bark stage, which has been out since OP6. We've seen a bunch of builds with just mono black Moria try this out. It pretty much revives one of your Thriller Bark's characters rested by paying 1 Don once per turn and resting their stage. So there's a few targets that I've put here. We've got this Kumasi, which is Don 2. During your turn, for every 5 cards in your trash, this character gains 1,000 power. This guy can get pretty big. He starts off as a base 3. So, you know, if you've got 2 Don on him, he's 5. And then if you've got, you know, per 5 cards in your trash, he gains 1,000. And then if you've KO'd something else and everything gains 1,000 due to the leader effects, then he can get pretty big. Like 2 cards and, you know, 2 Don on him, leader boost, that's 6. If there's 10 cards in your trash, that's 8,000. Like, that's for a 2 cost, like, dude, that's 8,000 attack, or even 7 if you've only got 5 somehow, you know. It's not bad. Like, and later on in the game, he can get pretty big, you know. If I'm thinking that the, you know, Gecko Moria and the identity of Thriller Barks is all about trash, if I'm thinking about that, then, you know, if they continue with that sort of methodology, then you know, you could end up with 15 or 20 or 25 cards in your trash towards the end of the game. And, you know, that's 4 or 5 times he's getting a boost. So, you know, say you've got 20 in your trash, that's plus 4,000. 2 Don on him plus the leader, that's a 10,000 power swing. That's pretty decent. but we'll have to see how this goes. Got this Jigaro of the Wind as well. He says on KO, you can give one of your leaders or characters +1. He's a 2,000, he's a 2-cost 3,000 power. So the other 3 cards you'll see here, I should mention, are they all trigger on KO. It's just sort of making sense of the KO effect for Gecko Moria. And I think this one's okay, you know, obviously when you KO something, you boost everything by K, and then when he's KO'd, he boosts the leader or something by another K. So, you know, the Gecko could be swinging for 7 for free. Well, of course you have to KO him, but say if you're tapping your stage and reviving him, and then you KO to boost everything on your field, and then you get that Don back that you've rested for Thriller Bark back as 1,000 power on something, that's pretty good. Like, you know, if you're able to build a board, you know, maybe with that 6-cost Gecko that we got from PRB, maybe with some support coming up, and, you know, if the identity of this Gecko is going really wide with small units or, you know, board flooding, then the 1,000 power will come up because everything becomes, you know, 4,000, say, and then, you know, that's 1 Don on something for a 5,000 power swing. And, you know, you can boost something else with this Jigaro of the Wind and make it a 5,000 power, you know, just swing for free, which is, that's decent, you know, if that's what it's trying to do anyway. I don't know if it's a more, you know, turtley top end play, heal, you know, draw a bunch of cards, whatever. We've got this Tararan, is that how you say it? Yeah. On play and on KO, it trashes the top 3 cards of your deck. So could be an option if that's how they're going, you know, if they're going down the trash line. And then we've got a Nupe as well, which he's a good one. He's a draw 2, trash 2, so he's a good filter. He fills up the grave pretty quickly, and he's on play and KO too. So you can play him, draw 2, trash 2, KO him instantly, draw another 2, trash another 2, and you can fill up the trash pretty well. And as I said with this Kumasi, you know, if we're trying to fill our trash up, or even just cycle cards to get to different names in our trash with the Thriller Bark stage being able to revive a 2 or less, that could be a really good way of doing that. A note that I had here about Gecko is that potentially a way that they could, you know, mitigate his leader effect is they could go down a route where if, say, you're using his first effect, KOing something to boost boost your leader and all your characters, if that thing on KO then says, if this card's KO'd, add this, like if it's KO'd by effect, add it to your hand or something, or you know, if something's KO'd, you can draw a card or draw 2 cards or something if it's KO'd by your own effect or something. Very specific text, but you know, if it works with this and it recurs the card back or gives you a draw or something, that could be a way to offset just losing the body, but also getting a card back to your hand for the leader effect. So I'll be very interested to see how we're replenishing our hand, but there's definitely an opportunity that they could, you know, approach this. It says a little searcher that on KO adds itself back or draws a card or adds a Thriller Bark card back from your trash. That could be pretty good. So we'll wait and see on this. And then on the right here, I've got Derashishi. I've just put another way to sort of search for more cards to put in your hand. I do not think this is going to be played unless we get some crazy triggers because he's yellow. But, you know, technically we can add these 2 cards here. Shadow's Adsguard, which is a counter, and it's a main effect as well. And then we've got Negative Hollow, which trashes a card from your opponent's hand. The Shadow's Asgard is interesting. It's a main or a counter. It says your leader gains 1,000 power during this turn, and then you can KO any number of your 2 or less Thriller Bark type characters, and then your leader gains 1,000 for each you've KO'd. So for the turn, it's cool. As a counter, you know, if we're KOing, we're getting the 1k off it, and then if we're KOing another 1 or 2, then we're going to 7,000, 8,000 base for that turn, it can be pretty good to offset a bit of aggro, but inherently, I don't know if we're going to have enough cards to KO to get the value off it, but it's got a trigger. It says draw 2 trash 1, so we can add it off the Derashishi, which is pretty cool. And Negative Hollow has a trigger as well, so. But again, I don't know if that's how they're going to approach the Gecko Moria specifically, but, you know, it's just interesting to think about, I think. Well, look, that wraps up all of the leaders. Overall, I think it's pretty interesting to see that they're going with a very unique direction. It's, you know, these leaders have come out and we're all a little bit like, ooh, you know, why is it like that? You know, why? This doesn't make sense. And I think that's pretty cool. It adds a bit of mystery and, you know, you're thinking about what could come. So we'll wait and see in the coming weeks, and hopefully, yeah, we get some really cool support. And let me know your favorite leader. Mine is Boa, of course, but I'm secretly hoping that we're gonna get some really cool Thriller Bark support for Gecko, and then I'm hoping that it's black as well, so we can then use it in Perona. So, but yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.